Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Human Design Talks. I am with Ioan here from Sweden, right? Sweden?
Romania.
Romania. But you live in Sweden, yes. No?
No, I live in Romania.
I was sure it's Sweden. Wow, good. Nice surprise to start with.
Yes.
And I am Bar from Israel, so we meet here to talk human design, and we just know the first topic. We just know what we are gonna start with, but we don't know what will come out of us and from our body regarding this topic. Yeah, so today we're gonna talk about the defined ego. We both have defined ego. I am defined in my ego through the 2145. Ioan is defined through the 4426. And we both have this willpower, energy, commitment, support. As we know, it's only 30% of the population have a defined ego. And from my side, I can start and say that very often in my life, I was committing, but it took me a while to understand that I'm not there, that I really don't want to commit to this or that. But I could not stop, because once my ego said, okay, you commit to this, I committed. I have a word, you know, I need to prove myself, you know, that people can trust me, that my word is worthy. So this is my little, let's say, this kind of paradox, because I have a defined solar plexus. So if I'm not waiting for emotional clarity, which is longer than the ego, then sometimes I commit to things because the ego is like, yeah, come on, competition, you know, support, education, money. But if I'm not waiting for the emotional clarity, then I find myself just committing and using the power of the ego, which is a motor, as we know, and a very powerful motor. How is it for you with commitments?
Yeah. Well, you know, just one thing, you know, it's also the ego, right? So and it took me a while to realize that I'm an ego being, you know, being a spiritual person, and everybody fighting the ego, and you don't have to be like, you don't have to be an egotic person. And people really get it wrong many times, you know, that the ego is bad, and you don't have to do, and you don't have to show yourself as you are, and so on. And that's a good thing to clarify, right? Because my ego is actually unconscious. My gate 26, which is kind of funny because it's the egoist, right? In line 2, it's about the natural ego. So it took me a while to really trust myself, to really understand that actually I can commit, and that I'm worthy. And you know, it was quite a surprise for me to see people calling me arrogant, you know, you're arrogant, and cocky, and you know, because I could not see it. Like, it was like, me, I'm the humblest person in the world, you know. But once, you know, then you can feel it, as you said. It's not something that comes with my mind. It's something that happens, you know. If I want to give support, then the support is there. And many times, you see, in my case, it was like, I cannot do this. Like, I mean, how in the hell I'm going to do this? Yeah, me being planning, right? And not trusting it because I didn't surrender to it. So, no, too much. Yeah. But then it would happen, you know, like I would do it. And see, in the other part, because And many times, like, I doubted myself, or somebody comes and says, no, you're not right, it's not like that. And then I go, maybe he's right, maybe I cannot do it. But then it happens, you know. And that's the power of the 26. I mean, I cannot do it by the power of my mind, but it gets done by the power of the ego, right? And it's sometimes it's quite powerful. And being a projector, sometimes you tend to mix it with availability. And it took me a while to realize that I should not be that much available, you know. And now it's easy for me to say no. And you cannot move me when I say no, it's no. So, like this.
Yes, I like when you said about availability and the power of the ego, because when I am there, I am fully committed to support. You know, I'm gonna hold the space. Well, I'm also emotional manifestor, so there is a lot of impact when there is a potential for impact when I come to the room. So for me to be in a place and bring my presence there, it means that I am for the service. I am for support. I am here to provide whatever I can, you know, in my presence, in my silence, in my speech. But to be in a place when I'm not like this, my ego gets a hit, you know. You didn't support. You were not present. You were not providing, you know. So it was not a worthwhile commitment. And for me, I can really see the change between me saying, yes, I will be there and I will do that, and I'm fully there, between me saying, I will do that and I will come, but I'm not there. I'm not there. So I start to be a bit cautious, you know. Wait, when do you give your word away? You know, when do you say yes? Because when you say yes, it's going to be a whole party, you know, with my defined solar plexus with the 3536. It's going to be a party. You know, you have an influence energy, you are influencing. So it's not always easy, because there is that need within me to support, to provide, you know, to be there for the other, you know, to give the resources, to provide the education. But I'm not always available. I have also undefined sacros. I'm not always available. And the ego has to rest. And sometimes it's confusing, you know. I have an undefined sacral center, doesn't know when enough is enough. I have to rest. Yes, I give you, I'm there, I'm supporting, but then enough is enough, you know. I need to recharge. So it's, yeah.
And I also see this, you know, with my definition, it took me a while to understand that I need to be paid. It was one of the things that I had to get there. And it's really important, because sometimes I would do things like supporting people, and then I would say, yeah, it's okay. But a part of me was like, you know, breaking, you know, I could feel inside this, it's not okay. It's, you know, it's not their part. It's not done. Like, you have offered yourself for nothing. Well, it's not something that I wanted to do with my mind, you know. With my mind, I would say, yeah, I'm the good guy, you know, no defined emotions. Yeah, I can support you. But inside, it was this like rupture, you know, something is not right. Because it really goes two ways, right? If I put my will into it and I give you my support, what do you do for me? And it was really, it took me a while to understand this, right? Because, you know, being the good guy and being available and trying not to upset people, the only protection that I had was this, right? Is it really supportive for me too? or am I just like supporting? And this is actually very important for the ego being to understand that it's really about two ways. It's not one way, it's two ways, right? It's about, I give you this, you give me that. And it's really very, very healthy for the ego to do this, right? Because otherwise, like, you can feel this, yeah, I'm a good person, you know, spiritual person, but then your being is like, oh, why are you doing this to me? And this is also the reason why, like with the 26, which is about immunity, and I know many people, including me, who have issues with their like immunity, you know, running noses and having allergies, all because you don't really support your own system. And then the system says, wait a minute, what about me? You know? So this is one thing that I really experienced in my process. And I see other ego beings fighting with this, right? Because the ego is so blamed for nothing, you know. It's really, you don't have to be an ego being. Yes, you have to be an ego being if you are an ego being. It's your energy. And it took me a while to get there, you know. It took me a while to realize that I don't give my word because I know I can't. So me being planical, it's really difficult to plan. You know, it's difficult to say I will do this because then my whole being will be like stressed to do it. Right? So I don't do it that often. Now I know that I need to really be aware and sure that I can do it. Otherwise, yeah, difficult. And it's not, you know, being an ego being like myself with no connection to the throat, it's not that I can really do this ego, like manifest this ego and keep it. So I need to be very careful with this. And it's, again, not the mind stuff, because if I look at my life, there were things that I said I couldn't do, and they got done by my energy. But being a projector is really about knowing that if you push yourself, it doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen. And then you really have to compensate, and you really have to push your ego. And the ego is really, as you said, getting tired.
Yes,
a lot.
yes. When we look at the percentage, so we have 30% of ego beings, and then the rest are undefined or completely open. And this is something that you mentioned. If you're ego being, be an ego being. So there are a lot of like fake ego beings, because there are a lot of undefined open ego beings, which are actually displaying a very bad reputation to what is to be an ego being. Yeah, because it has the energy of over pushing and proving yourself, or chasing about materialistic energy. You know, it has this bad reputation for the ego, but it has nothing. There is nothing to do with a good competition. There is nothing to do with earning money. There is nothing to do with a good support. But it has measurements that the undefined ego, open ego, does not have. Any center that we have, it has a wrong measurement of the quality itself. Like, it doesn't know how to display it well. It's not that me and you from day one, we knew how to use it. But through life, we get very wise about it, right? About, okay, how do I use my commitment? Where do I use my support? And I must say that for me, it took me a while to be okay with people that are not fulfilling their commitments. Because for me, it's a very bad thing. It's a heartbreaking thing, you know, not to stand up for my word, for my energy for a long time. But I knew that, oh, people are late, people are canceling, or people does not pay. And I was in shock. it took me a while to understand and respect that not everybody works like me. People can be late and absent without informing, just disappearing, forgetting the thing. And I was like, how they live with themselves, how they go to sleep like that. And when I met human design, I've become more soft around that, knowing that, okay, they're not doing it because they're bad. They're not doing it because they have bad intentions to hurt me or anything. Some people, it's not as heavy for them as like me. Yeah. So yeah, it's when you said about being arrogant, I had it too. People say you're arrogant, you know too much, you speak in a voice that we cannot hear. Well, sometimes it's just my ego lighting up, it's just my ego saying, yeah, of course, I know, and this is my service and everything. But I cannot stay there for long, it's very tiring for me. So in one moment, I'm like, oh, come back to emotional frequency, because it's tiring to be in that position for a long time.
Yeah, I can get that. I don't have any other motor, right? It's only you transmit as much as you transmit in the moment, and then you really have to rest. And I can see this, for example, in my classes. I can be there, and it's really flowing. And then when it ends, like my whole being is like, it's like, the engine has finished its work, and then I need to rest. And I need to rest, I don't know, like 10 hours or 8 hours, or I need to put my feet up. Yeah. And this, this 26 is about your feet up. Like really, really an important thing that I discovered in my experiment. And then Martin Grassinger told me about this, and I was wow. Because I would come back from school and my feet would hurt. So my body would want my feet up. So I put my feet up like this on the wall and sit there until they got like really cold. And I said, okay, it's good. Now I can walk again. And then I talked with Martin about this. And he said, of course, like the 26 needs to put his feet up. And you see it in the American movies, right? They sit with their feet on the desk. And he said, this is what you should do in order to really get rested, for your body to rest. And I practiced that. And 26 as such needs more sleep and needs to have this reverse position so that it can really get cool, because 26 is very hot. And then 44 is very cold. And then you need to really bring that, sometimes that coldness. So you get it like on a regular, on a good wave.
Interesting. I want to come back to one thing you said, because we have one activation in the ego, the 5125, which is individual, the channel of initiation. So do you think also the individual has that back in, like, give and take energy? Because we spoke mostly about the tribal circuit. We know we have the 3740 from the solar plexus to the heart center, and we have your channel 4426, which is the spleen to the ego, and then we have my channel 2145 to the throat center, which are all tribal. So they work on give and take, and also different give and take. Yeah, maybe we're going to talk about it in a moment. But what about the 5125? Like, what do you think about that? Give and take, money, support?
No, nothing like that. As I see the 51, and of course 51, then 25, this is the new blood in the tribe, It's like, it's bringing, if you want, new spirit, new direction to the tribe, and new blood to the tribe, because the tribe is not really going anywhere. And it would die out without the 51, right? If you don't have courage to get out of this tribe. This is what the 51 does, actually. Gets out of the tribe, goes into the world, and brings back this new blood into the tribe. So with a 51, it's about empowerment, and it means it's about me, and I need this energy to really go out there. So, but it's in the ego. So being in the ego, it's actually also about this energy of, you know, this material things that is there, right? You need to get something new in the tribe somehow, and the tribe doesn't do it because it's not interested in anything from outside. So actually the only thing that can really change is this shock courage to really jump into the void and go out in the world and bring something new, you know, like when you see a black guy in a white family, right? For the tribe, this was really, wow, how can you do this to us, right? But they know also that they need this because otherwise they die out.
So there is give and take, but not a give and take in the way we're used to see. There is a spiritual give and take. There is, because it's not that the individual flies away and never comes back. It comes back, or it represents the tribe. So it has a give and take, no?
No, I think he's not interested in that actually. But the others are interested in it, right? So he can really give this empowerment back, but he doesn't do it for the tribe. He really needs to be on his way, but there are side effects. You know, he doesn't do it for the tribe. He does it for itself, for himself. That's a big difference, you know. The tribe is affected and impacted, and it has benefit, like some benefit out of it. But he doesn't go into the world for the tribe. He goes into the world for himself. Like I would say this is bad. He doesn't really care about the tribe in the sense that I do this for the tribe.
Yeah,
I do this for the tribe to see me. Yeah. So that's the big difference between the empowerment and support, actually. Like the 51 is really interested in the new, right? It's interested in something, what's out there. What's different than all the material stuff here? I need something new. I need this spiritual, right? So he goes away and then he brings something back, but it's not really something supportive, because also he can bring like diseases or whatever else, and that is disempowering, you know. So there is a risk there and a mutation there that can really change the tribe. So I would say the tribe supports it because it's their own, you know. Yeah. 51 is also in the tribe. So if it's my son, I need to support him. Or then I cut his, you know, inheritage and I avoid it from the tribe. Yeah. So
thank you for that. Yeah, I was wondering about this connection. So we have on the one side, we have the 3740, which my family is full of that energy, and I know few people. And it's all about getting reward, not only from money, you know, it can be just bargains, people that are very good in give and take that is not necessarily money. And I learned I learned from my family and people around me with this channel about the ability to bargain in a way that is right, and to take the time to find a bargain that, okay, it feels right. And it takes time. It takes time to say, like, whoa, what do I give you? Because it's not so clear. With money, it's very clear. I ask this, you give me this, and, you know, no way back. This is what we agree. But when we speak about love and affection and food and rewarding words, it's like not so clear how many words I should give to you. So it's worth the fact that you wash the dishes, you know? So it's like, how many meals should I provide you from the fact that you went and worked? So it's all of this takes time to find the balance. And I know because I live in this kind of family. My parents are full of that bargain energy that was very strange for me as a 2145. No, you do for me. You serve me. You know, I educate you and you serve me. But it took me a while to understand, okay, there is like give and take, and it takes time to refine. Maybe the bargain has changed, you know, possible. We agree on something. weeks goes past by and it's not working anymore. We have to adapt it. Yeah, again and again, again and again. Yeah.
I also live in such a family. I have the 37, which is sometimes like in detriment to the 44, you know, because you mix friendship with business and then it goes really bad. But and my son has this channel 3740, and my wife has this channel 3740. I just have the 37. I also, my crosser is the 19, which is my design Earth, and my son is the 49. So I've been living this for the last 14 years, 15 almost. And you know, actually it's easier to manipulate with friendship than with money, you know, because it's this side is about friendship, right? And it's about needs and principles. And as you said, many times they don't know what they need, right? They need something and then they change their mind and they say, yeah, I wanted something else. And it's really on this side, the best that you can do is hug and smile. Like that's the best thing that you can do, because otherwise, if you try to convince them with words, like they get only angry, you know. So, and I saw this like massaging, you know, really massaging their bodies or giving a hug, and then, well, my wife is not so much upset if you do it, and especially if they don't have it like consciously and it's unconscious, and then they really don't know what they want. So it took me a while to get used to this, and as you said, the issue is that their need changes over time, and then they remember what they wanted to. They don't remember the truth, but they remember what they think they said. And this is why Ra says put it on paper, because otherwise you say, but you said it like this. No, I said this thing. You're not right. I meant it like this. I really meant it like this. But you said something else. No, I said this. So, so me being always, you know, compromised in that family, I know like you cannot gain at this bargain. So it's really about being very, very aware and knowing when to give away, so to say, because otherwise, like in my experience, you can never win, right? And money doesn't help, actually.
No, it's not about money. It's really about together. It's about the family. It's about being sensitive. It's about the food. It's about the touch. It's about the atmosphere. You know, it's all about the vibe of the tribe. We are together. And for many years, I said, like, yeah, we're together. We're not doing anything special. We're not talking something. We're not going further. I mean, and it took me a while to understand, yeah, we are just together. This is what they want. And they just want to see me physically next to them and eat with them. And this is enough for them, you know.
Yeah.
And then we go to the other side that is rather cold, you know, when from the spleen, the 4426, that it is about money, and it is about making things clear. And it is about getting somewhere, you know, like that there is clarity, and we must achieve, you know, we must protect, and it's intuitive. So with spleen, we know it's cold, it is cold, and, you know, in the moment knows what needs to be done for the ego. Yeah. Not so much about this blending family, you know, hug and kiss stuff.
Yes, mushy stuff, right?
Mushy stuff, yeah.
Yeah, we need to achieve something. We have to go to the top of the hierarchy and so on. So, yeah, so, but you know, me being splenic, for me, it's clear that I really, sometimes I just have to be there. If I start to interact with them, well, then they don't like it because because they want me there for the safety, you know. should just be here so we feel safe. It's funny though, yeah, but yeah, and provide, you know. It's very funny if you look in mirrors, right? You look at the 44 and 37 and you see 44 talks and, you know, manipulates with words and with transmission and knows what to say, and 37 just smiles and hugs and kisses or doesn't, you know. Just, you just, and then, you know, you messed up, right?
Yes, and then they meet, and we meet the 2145, which is like the only voice for the tribe, which is interesting because for the tribal circuit, we only have one voice, the 45, which is I have or I don't have, we have or we don't have. And I have in my design that frequency, and it's a bit different from the rest of the tribal frequencies. It's a bit different because it's going towards expression. It goes towards manifestation. It goes towards leadership. So it's needed to have that support from the tribe underneath. But at the same time, it knows, okay, I'm about to lead. I'm about to take the decisions for us. And I know that I feel the responsibility that I have when I do that. I often like to speak about the 21 as like, you know, biting through. The one that will say what nobody wants to hear, but it's important for us to hear. Yeah, it's taking that responsibility for the tribe. And sometimes when you take responsibility for the tribe, you can be the bad guy. Like very often I've been the bad guy, the bad woman, you know, saying things that nobody wants to hear, what everybody wants this. Yeah, we are together. No. There are things that needs to be said, you know, by the queen, by the leader. So and very often I have to find my own support. What is my own support is a 2145, very different from the others frequency in my perspective. I'm not 100% sure yet. It's a different support, is a support of respect, you know, a support of like allowing me to take the lead, you know, saying we are following. Yeah, I cannot lead without followers. We are here for you. We see you. Yeah, we don't always agree with you, but you have our back. And yeah.
You know, in the tribe, the manifestation actually happens in the ego. And that's maybe one of the important things to know. Actually, you see the circuits ends with the ego, because if you are a 19, all you need is a family, right, to satisfy your needs. The moment that you have a family and you have what to put in your stomach, then it ends, you know, just rest and work and rest and love and rest and work. On the other side, it also ends with the 26, you know, because the 26 says, now I put the money on the table, now everybody is safe and secure, now we have what we need, so that it ends there, right? And this is all a complete circle, right? But then somebody has to organize it. Somebody has to take from this side where there is a lot of resources and give to the other side where there is no resource. So because in one side you have the resources, on the other side you have the needs. So now somebody has to organize all this and properly divide it between needs and hierarchies, you know, respecting and knowing that the 26 needs to have more because otherwise he won't work, and knowing that the family needs supports, because if you don't give them what to eat, then the 26 will not have actually also his caring. So, and that's actually the role of the controller of the 21. And the 21 takes what the tribe has and divides it, right? And that's the energy of the 21. He has to be the organizer, the one that really can be there and do some things that other people cannot do, which sometimes it's a difficult position. And also you see, the 21 is supposed to control. That's its role, right? So again, I don't really resonate with people who say, you're a controlling bitch, you should not control. I learned not to control. But somebody has to, because otherwise, who will do this, right? If there is no hierarchy in the tribe, if somebody is not in charge, who will do this? So this is actually the only way that the tribe can be organized. So the control is needed. And if your energy is that this controlling energy, you don't have to get rid of it. It's like cutting off your hands. It's really stupid, right? It's about really saying, yeah, I'm the one that is here to control, right? And you being a manifestor with this channel, like, if you don't do it, who will do it, right? Somebody else who doesn't have it, like me, like I have only the 45. So
yes.
Then how can I do it, right?
Yes, it's interesting that you bring up the subject of control, because it's not control like a dictator, you know, it's not a control that is like, everybody does what I think needs to be done because I wake up in the morning with this mood. It is a control that comes with a lot of sensibility. Like, okay, I heard this complaint from mother, I heard this need from the brother, I know the house. So it is control that is based on data, emotional sensitivity, and sense of organization and education. So it's very clever control. It's not what we call it control in the sense of mind, like, okay, this needs to be done right now, like this, exactly. Because to be a leader and people to be satisfied from the leadership need a certain adjustment that is in the restraint. Okay, you cannot pay today, so you pay tomorrow. Okay, you cannot come for dinner this week, so you come next week. It's always keeping people in a frame. So it's kind of the framing person that gives, that gives that frame to the tribe. It's like this kind of hug and push, hug and push, hug and push. So the word control, maybe like ego, as we said, has a bad connotation, like with dictatorship or like being aggressive. No, it has a very feminine side in it as well, to know, and humbleness, because when you have the 45, to say we don't have, it's something that you have to be honest about. Yeah, we don't have this amount of money. We don't have this amount of resource. We don't have this amount of love in the family. You have to be very honest, saying it out loud, Not everybody wants to hear the truth, that we don't have the credit that we think we have. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really important to see that, this control is more, as I said, the organization. It's about organizing resources, but it's also having the hand to do that. You see, because if you don't have the hand to do that, if you don't have the power to do that, and it's actually, it's power, is the power of the ego that is expressed. So it's really about having the power to control and to organize these resources. If you are a weak, like, executive, because this is what the 21 is, if you're a weak executive, then you cannot really help the tribe. If you look at the emotions, if you look at security, you cannot really organize the tribe because you need to bite through sometimes. You really need to be in control. And that control is not really bad. It's needed. Of course, it has also the dark side where you know it all and you do it as you want. But actually, sometimes you have to do it as you want because the others don't have this energy. So somebody has to assume this power and really have this, this power to organize the other, take from some part, put it in the other part, and do it. So this is why I tell people, like, if you don't control, who will control, right? It's not a bad thing. It can be bad when it is used in a bad way, but actually, if you don't do it, someone else will do it, who doesn't have this energy and will not know how to do it, because if it's not in you, then you don't really know how to handle it. Like, it's not consistent, you don't have support. Like I have the 45, so, and I'm a projector, and this 21 is the one gate missing that would make me a manifestor. And I worked with this a lot because it was part of my process, and it's part of my process not to assume control sometimes. And people would call me like controlling, you have an issue with control. And I would get upset. I don't have an issue with control. But really, I had an issue with control because if nobody would do it and I would see that it's missing, sometimes I would say, but this is the missing part, right? Nobody would listen, of course, but it's a different story, you know. So, no.
Yeah, wow. So speaking of control and structure, I would like us to end with practical solutions, practical tools. Of course, it is all based on our personal experience, so feel free to take it or leave it. What works, what doesn't work, you will know for yourself. So it just, I like practical things, you know. And I would say that for me, being a defined ego is taking rest, literally sleep, literally lying down, literally disconnection from any engagements. So this is the first practical thing, rest. It seems a bit like, what? But I cannot rest. There are so many things to do. Yeah, but it's necessary in order to bring the power full on and to be correct with to what I engage. And I was playing around about understanding to what I commit. And I said it last time with the spleen. I want to understand for how long I need to be there. What do I need to bring? How much I need to pay? It's like before you apply to a course or workshop, it's just to read the details. So when it comes to commitment in person, when you speak to someone, ask, like, how long is the party? What do I need to bring? How much I need to pay? Who will be there? So you understand that it's not only the commitment of I'm coming, it's also the expectation of that ego being. You know, so you will know that, okay, I need to keep my energy for 3 hours and then I can back up. Yeah. So this is 2 tips that came to my mind.
Yeah, for me, the thing that I think it's most practical is stop working that much on yourself. Like, this is this is what I tell people, like, don't work with yourself too much, like, really, because it's not about that. It's really, as you said, about resting and about respecting yourself. Yeah. And being a lot in spirituality, I see people who want to improve all the time. You don't need to improve, actually. You just need to let go and see who you are. That's the best thing that you can do. Say no. No. Yeah. Learn to say no. That's the best thing that you can do.
This is beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Jan. You won from now I know from Bulgaria, Romania. Romania. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. No worries, we'll get there.
I will get there. I will remember one day. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time and energy.
Thank you.